Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Nature's Wellness Symphony. I think this is episode 6 already, if I'm not mistaken. And we've had a really good time unpacking wellness from a different perspective, bringing God's perspective into it, and just looking at the holistic view of body, soul, and spirit in terms of wellness. And so again, I'm Tammy from Lions Arise, promoting kingdom identity. I'm also a trauma counselor, so I know the importance of working spirit, soul, and body to bring healing to the person. And the body is such an important part of this healing. So that is why we're unpacking this, to know that, we can't just deal with one area of functioning. We need to deal with all areas of functioning for our wellness to be optimal. So today we're going to be speaking about the skeletal system. So Denise, I'll give over to you now to start off and just say a little bit about yourself also.
Okay, great. So I'm Denise Bierman, founder of Fontes Wellness, Sozo Natural and Fontes Organic Skin Food. I'm a certified essential oils coach, and that certification is underwritten by the American Association of Drugless Practitioners. And I am passionate about healing. I'm passionate about identity, and I'm passionate about the things that Jesus are doing. I think in this time that we are in, he's busy unpacking things that we didn't know of the body. And as we are waking up, we have tremendous resources to our disposal to just look at wellness and our bodies and our overall well-being in a different manner. And as I've said before, this discussion is not meant to treat or diagnose disease. Please just research everything we say and see if that's applicable and how that's applicable to your life. But we're just unpacking things in general and having wellness redefined conversations. So today is the skeletal system. So the skeletal system mainly consists out of, the skeleton with 206 bones, the joints, and then the cartilages that's connected to that. And then very, very interesting is that in the bones, you find the marrow, and the red bone marrow is the one that produces our blood cells, our new blood cells, new life. And I felt led for this specific session to look at specific scriptures that is linked to bones. And we talked beforehand, and you say you felt the same way. For example, Leviticus 17, verse 11, that says, life is in the blood. In other words, the soul. Our soul's on the blood. And whatever accesses your blood accesses your soul, which is your personality. And there's another verse that speaks, Psalm 109, verse 18, speaks of oil. David's saying that oil soaks in his bones. So it does mean that because he was applying oil to his skin. So it does mean that what we apply on our skin actually gets to our bones, which means it gets to our blood. And that will be the same for what you eat, what you inject, all the various ways to get what you inhale. In the end, it can get into your blood and affect your bones from there. I think the last time we also spoke about sticks and stones can't break my bones, but your words never do or never can. And there's a scripture that I found very interesting. It was Psalm 42, verse 10, which says, my bones suffer mortal agony, as my foes taunt me, saying to me all day long, where is your God? Their taunts break my bones. So it's their words break my bones. So very, very interesting.
I have another one to add to that. It's Proverbs 16, verse 24. It says, pleasant words are like a honeycomb, sweetness to the soul and health to the bones. So it shows you that words have the ability to penetrate right through to our bones.
Yes, absolutely. And there was another one, Psalm 22:14. I'm poured out like water, and my bones are disjointed. He lies awake. This is David. And it's the taunting of his enemies that's causing this condition, which also speaks to me of depression. So depression and bones, and hope deferred makes the heart sick. But when something happens, then it's the tree of life. And we are referred to as trees in the Bible. Definitely nations are referred to as trees in the Bible, which is also very interesting. So disappointment, how we handle disappointment affects the concept of hope deferred. So if we struggle to handle disappointment well, then hope deferred can become our portion, which then leads to depression. It leads to the dry bones that dry up. So it's very interesting, the whole thing about bones.
So Proverbs 17 verse 22 also says, right, a merry heart does good like medicine, but a broken spirit dries up the bones.
That's actually, that is a better one than the one that I had. Yes, absolutely.
Our emotional state and our emotional health is actually so important to our bones, because there's even studies that they've actually done on this, and they say that especially for women, studies have done where there's depression, and often when there's depression or anxiety, sometimes the diet's not great, so we've got this whole thing working together. And so what the evidence is starting to show is that your emotions are actually affecting bone health. They are promoting osteoarthritis and things like that. So very interesting.
Yeah, very, very interesting, because in the book that I just looked, because it's my resource on origin of things, Dr. Stradom also mentions bones, osteoporosis is influenced by jealousy and envy. If you suffer from jealousy and envy, and that is something. Jealousy is something we have, and envy is something that we have. If we don't know who we are in Christ, we don't know our identities. We don't know who we are, what we are made to do, what the Lord wants us to do on this earth. If you know you are, then you don't have. Then you're satisfied, because it's way more than enough.
That's right. Yeah, so in this particular study as well, the women that were assessed, so those that were feeling loneliness and discontentment and unhappiness and that sort of thing, all affected their bone density. So, yeah. And then also of the osteoporosis that's common in older women, that can be made worse by social isolation and unhappiness. So it's very important for our bone health then to take care of our emotional state, right?
Absolutely. And osteoporosis is something, well, most commonly, let's work with most commonly known of something that you suffer when you're older, not necessarily when you're younger. So it means the emotions are building up. It's filling the tank, and then it's busy breaking the bone, or not breaking, but making it more.
Yeah, somewhere it's got to come out somehow.
Yeah, so it's just another way. Same other bone-related issues, arthritis. And they reckon that bitterness and unforgiveness for unresolved issues causes arthritis. And a lot of times arthritis and dementia or Alzheimer's run together. And those two are also definitely related to unresolved issues. That's why the people keep talking about the same thing over and over again. And it's maybe very annoying for you on the other side. But asking questions and trying to, asking questions and let them expand on their story, because when they find peace, then that story will come to an end. It's the Lord's way of allowing us to deal with the things we didn't want to deal with when we were younger.
Yeah, it's an unresolved trauma that's building up, and then it's like the brain comes to a place where it can't hold that in anymore. The dissociation breaks down, and then it all comes out. So so very valid what you said, is to actually allow that to talk it out, let them talk about it, let whatever needs to come out so that it can be processed.
Because I listened to Timothy Benz over the weekend. He had a conversation about brain issues. Not that we're talking about brain issues today, but the arthritis. And he said that the Lord allows this to happen because he wants you to deal with stuff before you go. And he said something that's quite horrifying to me. He said, you will live until you sort that out. I'm like, oh my goodness.
Okay.
What a good thing.
I better get going then.
Yeah. So there's that thing of pushing it out and not wanting to deal with issues. Not only does it make us sick, but it can be a tool where the Lord takes away, allows, I'm not saying he takes it away, just the condition of our hearts takes us to that position, but he allows us to stay there so that we can deal with the things that he wants us to deal with. Because it's our unresolved stuff that becomes the inheritance of our children after that.
Yeah, so how about this scripture, maybe for that one? It's Proverbs 3, verse 7 to 8. Do not be wise in your own eyes. Fear the Lord and depart from evil. It will be health to your flesh and strength to your bones. You know, and sometimes that don't be wise in your own eyes is also pride. You know, we prideful. We don't want to face what we need to, and we don't want to deal with what we need to. And at the end of the day, whatever is contrary to God's word is against him. So it can be classified as evil or wicked, right? So when we don't do what we should be doing, you know, do we fall into that category, and do we need to get more fear of the Lord in order to bring our lives back into alignment with how they're supposed to look? You know?
Yeah, and that's true for all of us in all stages of a healing journey.
That's right.
True. Yeah, can get to those moments. Yeah. Anyway, other things, bone fractures, carpal tunnel syndrome, which is also connected to the nervous system, gout, neck pain. And we mentioned osteoporosis, which could also be hormonal imbalances. And then, I hope I can pronounce this right, plantar fasciitis. It's something that happens more to athletes. But what's very interesting is it's actually good for you to walk barefoot. It is something that helps to counter it. Is walking barefoot regularly. I find me more with my shoes off than with my shoes on. Definitely at home. So yes, and then joints is also a bitterness issue, which lies at the root. So it's all our undealt with stuff.
Yes, we're going to have a lot of people today examining what's been going on in their lives, that if they've got bone issues.
Yeah, it can be obviously generational, that comes down as well. Because that's the thing. That's why the Lord wants us to deal with stuff that is not passed down to the generations.
Yeah, and if you think life is in the blood, you know, our DNA, I think it's our marrow, all of that is linked. So that comes down the generations, the DNA comes down. There might be a predisposition, but that's also because of undealt with trauma, or, you know, all that stuff that's come down. So, yeah, very important point.
Yeah, and exactly the dynamics of how things always gets passed down, because you are born and then things are still happening in the bloodline of those that are alive, maybe, and how that still affects you. That's the mystery of it all. But you know, God knows, we'll know one day. I'm curious to know how that happens, but it still does.
That's right.
Yeah, and yeah, I don't know if there's anything you wanted to add to that specifically.
No, I think you can move on.
Okay.
I'll feed in just now again.
Okay, so then there are other things that affect bones, like gluten. Now, the interesting thing about gluten is that there have been many studies done on gluten. And I listened to Dr. Peter Osborne, I think the last week or so, where he talked about gluten. And it's a neurotoxin, which is very interesting because that can sit behind bipolar, schizophrenia, they say sometimes, dementia, autoimmune, and even depression, which is very interesting. But gluten also cause inflammation that gives you joint issues.
That's right.
And if you start working on, getting rid of the gluten, it doesn't mean grains necessarily. You must look, there's grains and there's gluten. So you must just look at the gluten portion of the problem. And if you start working on that, it will take at least 60 days for inflammation to cure. Not to cure, but for you to start feeling better in that area. And a lot of the times, I am very impatient. So a lot of the times we want something to work, but I took the pill yesterday. Even if I say pill, for me, it's the natural stuff. So I drank that stuff yesterday. Why am I not feeling better today? It takes time. It definitely takes time. It doesn't stop something in its tracks, but it will shorten a period, or it gives greater support to your system.
And if something's taken time to build up to get where it is, it's going to take time to get it back down again.
Yeah, no, definitely, because it's that microwave culture that we have. And that's why I specifically mentioned that. And then another thing that makes it difficult to walk away from bread is the bread morphine addiction that one has. Because your body is craving that. It's not only the sugars and stuff, but there's a bread morphine addiction. And as far as I understand, it relates to the gluten.
And is this in brown bread, white bread, all breads that aren't gluten-free?
Oh, well, I think it's the gluten. The conversation is specifically with regards to gluten.
Okay. All right.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, gluten doesn't seem to be our friend. And I must say, I've stopped. For me now, bread is the exception currently. I've won that battle for the moment because it's a journey, and I feel better. I do feel better. So I take it as more as an exception than the rule, and I don't really miss it. I thought I would, but I don't. So there's definitely something to that. Then solutions. Magnesium is important for bone formation. So if there's little fractures, magnesium is great. Vitamin Bs and your B6 specifically for nerve health. That's sort of carpal tunnel can be an issue. Vitamin D3 specifically and K2 for bone formation. But sunshine is a great form of vitamin D, is to get some rays on your skin. Not radiation, spend too much time getting burnt. I'm not talking about that. But just getting natural sunlight into our system. I think throughout all of our conversations we've had, vitamin D is really one of the things that always stand out. And we have lots of that in South Africa.
Yeah, and the thing is, for all the sun that there's also deficiencies, I think, with the way our lifestyles are changing. People are spending more time indoors in front of their computers. Children are spending time gaming. I think in this country as well, with the heat and the temperature and also just the way things are, people spend a lot of time indoors. And so population, has got a very high vitamin D shortage because most of the time they spend indoors, and also because they're always covered up, right? So they're not getting any sun. So I think that's also not good. A lot of them are not very healthy. But again, it's lifestyle and environment also.
And I think we've had this conversation about oils, but I just want to bring it in again. So when you apply oils to your skin, like in the Fontis or Sozo ranges or whatever oils, it helps to convert. It helps your skin. It helps your body to convert that into something beneficial. Your vitamin D, and the vitamin D is like a parent-child, as the parent that's training the child, the child in the immune system. So it's a trainer, and it affects 2,000 functions. I mean, that's a lot.
Vitamin D.
Vitamin D. Function.
Yeah. Yeah. So I know the function. That how many functions it has? 2,000.
It affects that many functions in the body because it helps the immune system, it gives training. It's kind of like that is the job that it does.
Mm.
And then sometimes when we put a petroleum product on our skin, petroleum doesn't breathe, it's like plastic. So our skins really are not all that clean.
Mm.
My viewpoint from where I stand with the synthetics versus the natural, but yeah, but just putting it out there. Fish oils. Oh my goodness, my light just went out. Or the light just went out. Fish oils, your omegas. There's an 18-month study that they've done taking fish oils, and it exhibited significant reduction in arthritis. I mean, that is, and if you have arthritis, you are in quite a bit of pain.
No,
And then
it's also good for the whole body and especially the brain as well, hey?
Yeah, no, it is definitely good for the brain, essential oil. I mean, the fish oils. It's the light that's gone out now, taking my attention away. And then essential oils again. There are great essential oils that you can use as part of your overall wellness protocol that is great for the bones. There's a study that was done at the University of Bern in Switzerland that investigated common herbs that we use that are rich in essential oils. Sage, rosemary, thyme, eucalyptus. So what it did is it inhibits resorption, which means it retards or prevents something like osteoporosis. So it plays a very positive effect if you are struggling with osteoporosis. And then peppermint oil is great for pain, and furs and needle oils good for rejuvenation of the bones. So diffusing it, using products that has that in is as part of your daily wellness protocol helps with those areas. And then essential oils boost self-confidence. So we spoke about how hope defers and the depression that comes. Having oils as part of your daily protocol, it helps to boost self-confidence. Your cedarwoods, your frankincense, and your myrrhs. And then your tree oils are also great for bones, ligaments, and tendons. And just to go, yes?
No. Just
to go back on essential oils, I know it's very widely available these days, and we think that, you know what, I can just use as much as I want to, and we have no respect or regard for the fact that it's potent medicine, plant medicine, and it is a resource. I'm not going to say it's a scarce resource because I'm not into all this whole scarceness thing. But think about it. 75 lemons to make 15 milliliters of essential oils.
Wow.
60 roses to make 1 drop of rose essential oil. An area bigger than a garage for 15 mils of lavender oil. So that is what you know, if you have your little container, think of the vast amount of plant material that's needed to make what you have. And that is also why your proper oils are more costly. And we've spoken about essential oils and their quality, and if it is done properly, if it's the distillation is properly done, the right species, not blended, not adulterated, then you have a product that's energetically strong. And we are energy. Sickness takes our energy down, and that is one of the things you want that lifts your energy. So it's important when you use an essential oil to get something that that enhances your well-being. You don't want it to be contrary to your well-being.
So would you say that the more expensive essential oils are then the better ones to buy because it means that they're more refined, more pure? Or because I know online you can get so many cheap oils, well, I don't know what cheap is, but you know what I mean. And some are really expensive, and then you get the same thing in a much cheaper brand. So this is an issue I have since I learned about the pureness of oils, and I used to use essential oils, that I just stopped buying them because I don't know what to buy and what's the quality of that oil, because it says 100%, but you don't know what you're getting. So would I pay more or would I pay less?
So two things. On the Sozo Natural, and it's at Sozo Naturally is the Facebook page for Sozo Natural. I've done a mini series on Know Your Essential Oils. So those are the basics that you need to understand, so you can understand the language being used. And price is also one of the determining factors. If you pay under 100 Rand or under a few thousand for your rose essential oil, you are not getting a bargain. I know you think you are, but you're not. You're not getting the real thing. Rose essential oil will cost the wholesale prices of about 2 mils, around 2,000 Rand. So that's not going to be the price that you pay retail. So it is an indicator, but also sometimes, you know how things are, people will exploit things. So that's why I say, know your essential oils and understand that you are going to pay a lot of money for certain things. I bought chamomile the other day at a wholesale price from a really amazing distributor, and that little bottle is 400 Rand. It's not the retail price. So
people really afford the essential oils, so they're going to have to save to buy them. It's part of the problem, because it's not everybody that's able to actually buy those oils, although there is a long-term benefit for it.
Yes, that's why I say less is more. Understand that what you use is potent medicine. And that's also one of the reasons in Sozo, at least I tried my best to do that. You will get a concentrate of Breathe Easy, which is 5 ml, which is a few 100 Rand. But then you can also get it in an inhaler form and you get that benefit, but it's under 100 Rand. So it gives people access. The oil is just more versatile, the blend that you can use in many places, but at least if you have an inhaler, you can also have the benefit of that, because I understand that these things are very expensive. Even the Skin Rescue, I mean, it has oils that are running at wholesale prices close to 700 Rand. That's wholesale. That's not retail. Retail will be much higher. And I try to keep the price low, but it's, it works. That's the thing. It's expensive because it's good quality, because it works. So
yeah, and it's lasts as well, because if you're only using a little bit of it, it's going to last you a lot longer.
That's the thing. It's a few drops that you need. A friend of ours, actually, she was sick the other day, and I put the diffuser in her room with Breathe Easy, and I would use, because she was not feeling well, more than I would usually diffuse in a big room. I'll have a big room diffusing 3 drops. I'll let it diffuse the whole day or until it's finished, but I'm not in the room the whole time. I walk in and out and I get the benefit, because it's less is more. It's not continuous. But she was not feeling well, so the rule of thumb is you must barely breathe it when it's in a room. You must just smell it. But for her, it was overwhelming for me, who was healthy. But for her, because she was not feeling well and really struggling to breathe and with her lungs, it just opened up everything, and she could tolerate the oils much longer. So for everyday use, you don't need much. If you're really feeling not feeling well, then you can increase it, and it will really affect your life, which it did for her. The next day, okay, she had a process of using natural stuff, but the next day she was a different person. So it does make a difference.
Benefits, because I mean, if you think what you pay for chemical medications, how expensive those are. If you want to really compare, prices or apples with pears, you're going to see that there is a benefit to it.
Yeah. And I am, if I say I'm passionate about healing, I mean, I'm passionate about healing. For me, the best moments of my day is when I hear that what I've put out in the market is making a difference in somebody's life and they are getting the results. That is what makes my day. That's what I'm after. So it doesn't even make sense to not use something that just wastes everybody's money and time. That's not,
right.
I'm not paying for that. It is rewarding to see somebody feels better or their skin is better, or you can help someone. I love it. Right. Yeah. Then turmeric. Turmeric is your other friend when it comes to pain, the organic sort. They reckon from studies when you struggle with pain, 1,000 milligrams per day. So that's a gram of turmeric. Because it's a powerful anti-inflammatory. It has 100 different actions in the body, which is very interesting about turmeric. It emits light. So it can, it actually works better than LED lights. And when you use turmeric, it brings light into the body. And isn't that fascinating? Because the healing power that God brings is white light. It is light. And He comes in, light into the body, light into the darkness. And this turmeric brings in light to the body. I just love that.
Wow, that's incredible. How did they figure that out? Was there studies that they did on that?
Studies that they've done, yes. I don't know the specific study that was done. I just heard this doctor. I was on a pain summit and they talked about various things that helped. That's cool. So something that brings light into the body. The healing power of Jesus releases energy, which is a light source. It releases that frequency of whatever light that you need in your body. And turmeric kind of does that. It emits light in the body. Isn't that so cool?
Amazing. God is so awesome, hey? The way He does all these natural ways to bring healing. It's really incredible. He's thought of everything.
Yeah, so somebody must have tasted, because the whole frequency thing is coming up again in conversations the past 2 weeks of how it's of a dark kingdom and all of that. But for turmeric to be a light source, it has to give off a frequency. Otherwise, it can't be a light source. So, yeah. So I that's just exciting for me. And then obviously the compound in turmeric, curcumin, there's been about 3,100 studies done on curcumin alone. It handles about 900 diseases. So if you think of certain pharmaceutical things, it can handle one thing. That's why your superbugs and all your stuff gets around it. It finds its way. But natural stuff, as I say, it's not immediate necessarily. And there's a place for a doctor and there's a place for everyday wellness. It can affect so many things. And it is exciting to hear that the concept of integrative medicine is really coming into the medical industry as well. And I love that, because I think we'll see better quality of life, better life, better solutions, which is really nice.
Yeah, I mean, much healthier for us in general.
Yeah, definitely. So curcumin also mitigates and it relieves pain. And then I'm bringing Hippocrates in again because of that whole background of him being the father of medicine. He would say, or he is known to have said, get rid of the chemist pot. Let's use food for medicine. Yeah. And studies are busy showing how food and these extracts are really good for us.
Like eat your vitamins, don't drink them.
Something like that. You can also drink them. Yeah, eat them too. Always know what you're buying. I think that's the important thing, is to work through the jargon and understand what you're looking for. Then my favorite, all-time favorite, again, that's good for bones, is vitamin C. So vitamin C, if you take it in the right quantities, it improves your mood. So what is very interesting, a doctor by the name of Andrew Saul, who has his PhD in science and is also an orthomolecular science, into orthomolecular science medicine, made a comment. He says tiny amount of vitamin C, which is the one that we are prescribed, you must drink these levels. He calls them tiny amounts of vitamin C, keeps you alive, but it will not let you prosper in health.
Oh, wow.
So
meaning we need higher levels of vitamin C.
High levels. So over years, I've listened to many integrative doctors talk, and they would easily say, I'm not saying when you're feeling well, but you can go up to, the highest I've heard is 30,000 milligram, which is 30 grams of vitamin C. Somebody, another doctor said this, I was on a cancer or pain summit. I was on both the last month. 315 milligrams per kilogram. So if you weigh, 40, you times it, that's how many milligrams you have to eat. So for me, it's somewhere in the round of 22 grams of vitamin C. And you can get it in through various forms, liposomal, ascorbic acid, just make sure it's a buffered one, baobab fruit powder, because it also relieves depression. It makes you feel good. It's good for your bones. It's good for your ligaments. I'm not talking about if you are sick. If you are sick, you always need to speak to your doctor, because you don't know what can affect what. And hopefully you have an integrative doctor that's open to bringing in supplements and natural things, because they do find in studies that there's really not much interference with supplements and foods when it comes to many treatments. But we are individuals. Sometimes we can overdo things, and then it gets the opposite effect because we do things in fear. Everything moderation.
Yeah, that's right.
It's what we do every day that affects our overall well-being. Then the reason why vitamin C is also great is because it makes collagen, and collagen is the glue that holds everything together. So when you think ligaments and tendons, so that's why it's important. I know we are on a culture that you drink your collagen. I don't have opinion about that yet. I like to give the body a precursor. In other words, it's intelligent enough to, it needs something because it's building. Vitamin C gives it something and it builds. NAC gives it something and it builds glutathione. So it's not a ready-made factory. It uses stuff. I mean, does it just use the collagen like that? I'm not sure whether it not just break it down and do something else with it. Not something else, but it breaks down and it builds. I mean, you should just give it the right tools sometimes. But as I say, I've not made up my mind yet on the whole drinking collagen thing. And then just as an interesting side note, but I'm sure you've learned it in history as well, Vasco da Gama, when his crew came around here, South African Cape of Good Health, South Africa, where he came down, he lost 2/3 of his crew to scurvy, which is a acute vitamin C deficiency. And you can find it in onions and lemons and oranges and stuff. And what is very interesting, that joint and tendon issues is because of acute induced scurvy. So it means that we are short of vitamin C.
Okay. Need to up the vitamin C levels for sure.
Yes, definitely up that. Then the other thing that's good for your joints is ginger. Making if you put ginger on inflamed joints, you make a ginger pack. It will be painful, but it's because it's drawing the stuff out, so you don't use it every day. but it's something that can help with inflammation, or like a ginger poultice that you use, or castor oil compresses. It breaks up scar tissue and calcification, and that you can use continuously. You can use it every day.
Castor oil compress.
Castor oil compress. Castor oil compresses are actually great, for liver detox too. That is something I do. I do the very informal way because I could not be bothered with strapping stuff around, but I do it and I sleep better, and I use it winter times with my hot water bottle as the heat source, and I sleep well. The fact that I do that and sleep well says it's busy working.
It's doing what it's supposed to.
Yeah. Then arthritis, that is also a common form of joint dysfunction. So we've spoken about the emotional things about that. There was a doctor, Dr. William Kaufman, and I believe his book was never studied, but published. But he worked with a lot of arthritis people and pain, and he gave them niacinamide, not niacin, but niacinamide. And I've actually looked at some of the studies that he's done. I think he worked on 517 people who he helped with arthritis by something simple like that. And then green veggie juicing. Green veggie juicing has many benefits.
And green veggie juicing, would that be spinach and broccoli, and what other green veg? Kale,
celery, I think green apples can be a green veggie. Cucumber, anything that is
those are my favorite. I don't like to eat my salad. I always say to my husband, there's too much chewing that's going on there. I like to blend it and then drink it. It's one of my favorites.
And I am speaking under correction, but I think the same doctor that I spoke about, he helped a lot of people with migraines, and that was green veggies. He said 8 glasses a day. That's a lot.
8 glasses? Okay, that's a lot.
It is a lot of, but that's 6 to 8, somewhere around there is how he helped people that suffered from migraines. Yeah, that was also very interesting. And he had other protocols as well, but that just stuck in my head because I thought, how on earth would one get in that many glasses of veggie juice?
You're going to need 2 extra fridges for those green veggies.
You're going to really have to have green veggies or garden outside.
Or a garden, that's right. Right.
Or maybe buy a green veggie juice that from a good supplier, that the nutrients are still in there. Yeah. I don't know if you have anything to add at this moment.
No, you've actually given some nice nuggets today. I think for me, it was just, again, adding, the redemptive gifts, and it ties into the skeletal system as well. We always speak about the redemptive gifts and how the redemptive gifts affect different parts of our body, or are associated with certain parts of our body. And so the skeletal system is associated with the redemptive gift of ruler. So
that's interesting. Yeah, of course.
So this may suggest that individuals with this gift have a natural inclination. So this is the ruler, right? To establish order, structure, and stability in their spheres of influence. So they possess leadership qualities, organizational skills, and a sense of authority that contributes to establishing and maintaining a firm foundation within communities, organizations, or relationships. So just as the skeletal system then supports and protects the bodies, the same way the ruler gift provides a solid foundation for others and then offers guidance and protection for the well-being under their care or influence. So obviously our skeletal system provides that stability for the body and the organization, because if there wasn't a skeletal system, what would the muscles wrap around? Where would the organs be protected? So yeah, that's quite interesting. And I think our skeletal system really does hold us up. That's the bottom line. So it's just like a ruler that kind of holds up an organization, or is in charge of keeping charge. So yeah, I just want to do that as well. And then another, just like an add on, for exercise as well, how important exercise is for our bones, especially weight bearing exercise, and especially for us women as we get older. Long hours of cardio and that sort of thing, that's not actually so good for us anymore. It's more weight bearing to sort of build strength in the bones. Shorter workouts, but stronger workouts as well. Because, as we get older, that's when the bone density starts to deplete, more so in women than in men. So exercise is obviously a very important part of that as well. And then I think just our general health, taking care of ourselves and eating well and sleeping well, and, the general stuff that goes with our wellness. I just wanted to add that.
I agree with the exercise, definitely. That is one that's really good for bones. You wouldn't think that, but it is actually really good for bones. And all the overall wellness stuff is the things that affect the whole body and all the systems that we've discussed so far. Definitely. I think as a final note, I just want to bring in again how your Fontis and Sozo products, it's consciously formulated to bring many different things into your world in one. For example, again, I've formulated a mosquito lotion. It's not on the market yet. It has turmeric in it. So not only is it good to help you with mosquitoes, it's good for your skin. And we've just seen the amazing benefits of turmeric, even though it's in an essential oil. And I've started applying it now in summertime because there are all these little buggy things that bite. And I was on a property on Monday. Somebody took me for a tour on their property. There's a specific way of how they incorporate nature in the way their property works, which is very fascinating. And as we were coming to the end of this conversation, I just, he was scratching himself there he had long pants on, but he kept on scratching himself, and he was talking about these bugs that bite him. I had 3/4 pants on, and I could see the bugs around me, but nothing was biting me. No. After a while, I said to him, I think it's that stuff that I applied this morning because they are eating you and they are not touching me. So it's nice for me to know that after hours, a whole day, that the bugs still stay away from me because of the mosquito lotion.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I like products that do that, and that's why I formulate them, or I have them as part of the ranges. And then we spoke about vitamin C. Your Fontis ranges are full of botanical vitamin C. Baobab fruit powder is, again, one of the things that I think one can add to a multi-C protocol. Yes. That is kind of a wrap for me.
Yeah, thank you. That was very interesting. You brought a lot of lovely nuggets today. I mean, turmeric sheds light. How wonderful is that?
Yeah, how cool is that?
So many, yeah. And I think, again, let's take care of our mental health. Let's take care of our emotional health, because it does affect our bones. It does affect our bodies. Bring those things before the Lord that we need to address, so that we can have health to our bones, right? So what was that scripture that I shared? Let me see if I can just find it here. Don't be wise in your own eyes. Fear the Lord. Depart from evil, and it will be a health to your flesh and strength to your bones. And then words, be careful of your words. Be careful of your words on others, because those words are curses that you're speaking. And obviously from the word of God, it shows you that it's going to go straight to the bones, the marrow. And so it does us good to get to a good place where we feel happy, we feel joy, and we actually spend time around people who are joyful and make us laugh, because that's medicine to our bones.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I agree. So people, there's the Lord brought somebody in my world recently, and I stand and I look at this woman. She has tremendous energy. Look at her, and that energy that she has, because she can just run around and do many things, and she's just very positive, and I enjoy being around her because it brings some of that into my space. So it's the same with negative people. They can just take all of your energy when you're done there.
That's right. So that's boundaries again as well. Having good boundaries in our relationships, the people that we spend time with. Really the holistic view of taking care of ourselves.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, thanks again, Denise, for today's talk. It was really informative, and as always, enjoyed it. And I'm sure whoever's listening also enjoyed it and is going away with a few nuggets today. So, thank you.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you for listening. And thank you again, Tammy.
Yeah, till next time.